Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Hi everyone, this is Patty Conklin in Healing Within. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a blessed week and a fun time and all sorts of good stuff. My guest today is my dear friend, Dr. Laurie Nadel. And since it's the month of February, we thought we'd talk about relationships and interactions with people and just, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And people always think about relationships, and not just intimate relationships or that love aspect of a partner, but also family and friends, and I think it heightens the awareness for everyone. So Laurie's going to be joining me today to talk about that. So welcome, Laurie.
I'm so happy to be here, Patty. Thank you.
And thank you for being here. So as a psychotherapist, I am sure that you have worked with many, many, many couples throughout the years, as have I, about relationships. So what does Valentine's Day really bring up for people? Is there any one thing, or is it a multiple of things?
The thing that comes up over and over again is there's a lot of fear around Valentine's Day. Firstly, fear if you're not in a relationship, fear that you're not going to receive the proper or appropriate gift for Valentine's Day, or that you're not going to be able to afford, or that you're not going to be able to find the appropriate or right gift for Valentine's Day. So it comes with a lot of pressure. It's a commercial holiday, and even though it does represent Saint Valentine, and it represents love in all its manifestations, especially romantic love, there is a lot of pressure in our culture to be in a romantic relationship on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And you'll find an increase in online activity this weekend with people trying to hope to meet somebody or to have a date or to begin a relationship around Valentine's Day, because it has that much, it's loaded with that much connotation for us in the United States, not so much in other countries, but here.
Yeah. Do you have any idea of when it really became commercialized? versus just being a day. I mean, I did not look up the history of Valentine's Day, of when it was, quote, created as that February 14th day. I just remember having my first son, Daniel, 2 days before Valentine's Day, and everybody was coming to the hospital to see us, and they were bringing candy and, chocolates, and I couldn't eat them. So my room was a hive for all the doctors and nurses coming in to eat all the candy.
Eat chocolate.
Eat the chocolate on Valentine's Day. But when did it really become commercialized?
I think it really started, I think everything started to become more commercialized in the late 80s, early 90s. And I think now with social media, everything has been commercialized and, Hollywoodized. And, the expectations on social media. I've had people break up with someone who they were in a long-term loving relationship with, because the person their partner didn't put in a relationship on his or her Facebook page. And
wow.
Right. Wow. The pressure on people to appear to be in a relationship for their social media persona has added a whole other layer of social pressure.
Wow.
So I think that it just keeps getting, I think that the commercialization and the pressure is really ratcheted up in the last few years, because so many people get their ideas and information about how they quote unquote should be perceived from social media.
Wow.
So it adds a huge layer of sense of obligation and a sense of failure and a sense of not being good enough and what's wrong with me if you're not, in a full-blown romantic relationship when Valentine's Day comes.
Wow. And there is a lot of pressure. And, just thinking through having lunch with my son on Wednesday, I said to him, don't forget, it's Valentine's Day next Thursday night. Do you want me to take the kids Friday night so you and Kesh can go out? And he's like, I don't know. Let me check with her. And I'm like, why would you check with her? Why wouldn't you just plan a romantic evening? And he just kind of gave me that blank look. And he's like, oh, that's my job, is it? And I'm like, well, yeah, you're the guy. And so just not even realizing it, I was putting pressure on him, just like, it's Valentine's Day and you ought to be doing something for your wife, not looking at, gee, maybe your wife ought to be doing something for you.
Or also maybe, it's a good idea to stay home on Valentine's Day because it's very crowded out there in the restaurants on
It's
Valentine's,
true.
Especially
It's
it's
true.
a Friday.
It's true.
I had a maitre d'. My partner and I, we go out. We tend to go out before after Valentine's Day. And we had a maitre d' at one of our favorite restaurants say it's a good thing that you came after Valentine's. He said Valentine's Day is amateur night, and
wow.
by which he meant that people show up in the restaurant who haven't eaten in a restaurant in years, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to order. They don't know how to act.
Right.
People break up on Valentine's Day. People break up in public places. It's an emotionally charged day, and for better or worse, I think all of us are somehow imprinted by it, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
We're all imprinted. We're supposed to have love, be in love, be with someone whom we love on Valentine's Day. And if we're a woman, we're supposed to get roses, and we're supposed to get chocolate, and we're supposed to give chocolate or, some kind of a present of esteem to our partner, and that's the commercialization piece of it. And if you don't do that, then that means you're, an inconsiderate, selfish person, and you don't deserve to be loved.
Very true.
It's kind of like the messages that you get at Christmas, which are, if you don't have a big loving family, sitting around the fire in a ski lodge, and somebody doesn't give you a Lexus with a red bow on it, then you're a weird introverted loner and you're a loser and you don't understand the spirit of the holiday.
Right.
And
Right.
and many people feel miserable about themselves because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a two-way street, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the commercialization, but it's also how people choose to respond if they're
Right.
not, being taken out to dinner, the roses, or,
Right.
given the Lexus and so forth at Christmas. I mean, people have a choice as to how they're going to respond to the
Right.
Appropriateness or the focus on them or the lack of focus on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's still
Right.
that choice. Yeah. So
Well,
when
people don't know that they have a choice. I think that a lot of the media imprinting and social media imprinting goes directly into the unconscious, into the subconscious.
Yeah.
And we compare it to other people we know, other times in our life when we've had the perfect Valentine's Day, times when we expect to have the perfect Valentine's Day, times that we've been disappointed. I mean, and there's a lot in the collective unconscious that can make it an emotional minefield for people because people don't always look at it consciously. They just know that they feel happy and excited or that they feel disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And we can expound on this a little bit more, expand as we come back from break. But, I think that when we look at holidays in general and the commercialization of them, Christmas is something I kind of ban from my life because, we do a lot of donating and gifting during
Right.
Christmas. We don't necessarily, for my children and I, give gifts to each other. Now, the children and grandbabies and so on, that's different. They're doing their own thing. But I think that for us, we've always chosen that, which is what works for us. But in the totality of the other families, it is that huge room filled with gifts. And I don't think anybody's ever gotten a Lexus, but lots of spatulas. But it's the idea of how, in some people's mind, how many presents are actually underneath the tree that decide whether or not they're loved.
Right.
And I've seen that over and over again. But let's talk about the commercialization and then let's go back and kind of look at what is it truly meant to be, whether it's Valentine's Day, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Easter. We've got so many different meanings, and yet the origins don't really follow true with that. So we can look at that when we get back. And folks, it's Patty Conklin and Healing Within with Dr. Laurie Nadel, and we're talking about Valentine's Day and the commercialization of. So we'll talk to you soon.
Patty Conklin grew up in Brooktondale, New York with a unique ability. Unlike others, she could see how the vibration of words and emotions affected the physical body. She discovered how to release stored emotion and facilitate healing. This began today's Conklin method of cellular cleansing. The private practice grew with tremendous results, as did her reputation. More and more people sought her out, bringing her into the home for healing. She soon realized she could even teach this to others, and they could shift perception and thus prevent illness from occurring. Patty Conklin quickly became a frequent keynote speaker, and she developed a curriculum for teaching the Conklin method of cellular cleansing. For more information, visit pattyconklin.com. PattiConklin, PattiConklin.com, or call 404-474-0086. That's 404-474-0086.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hi again, everyone. It's Patti Conklin and Healing Within with my good friend and dear guest, Dr. Laurie Nadel. And we're talking about, holidays. And one that we've got coming up here real soon of Valentine's Day. And you may be listening to this in September or October, but always know there's a holiday nearby. I think we've got one for every month.
Yes.
But moving into the Valentine's Day, because I know that I will get feeling down. I wouldn't say depressed, but feeling down in not having. I don't think I've ever had a Valentine's date in my entire life. So Valentine's Day is always one of those things of kind of, yeah, okay, it's Valentine's Day, but there is that missing of, being able to go out to dinner or get roses or something like that. That's just never been tangible. But I feel down about it. And I think a lot of people, certainly in this country, start getting anxiety or start feeling depressed and really going into the what's wrong with me mode. How do we help people get out of that space and understand it's not about them, it's not about the individual, it's about the commercialization and the expectations that are set on what it should be?
Well, I think there's, when I work with people, I think it's important to build some kind of a I call self-empowering ritual that you would do for yourself on that particular day. I like sometimes to ask people. This is something I've done myself, not on Valentine's Day, but when I've had a disappointing experience, say with a publisher, and I feel really bad about myself. I'll declare Self-Esteem Day. I was okay. Stop this. Today is Self-Esteem Day. What can I do that is going to build my sense of self-esteem? And so one of the things that I'll do is I'll do some journaling in the form of a mind map or a labyrinth. I'll make a spiral, and around the spiral I'll write all of the things that I feel that I love myself for, that I like myself for, that I appreciate myself for. and that can include family members, children, friendships, skills that we have, things that we like to do, activities, places, music, anything that really lightens our heart and makes us feel centered in our heart, kind of in our heart center, in our heart chakra. So I'll do a labyrinth, or I'll do a mind map. A mind map is where you put your name in the middle of a circle, and you would ask, how do I love myself, or how do I trust myself? And you would draw little branches off the circle, kind of like the sun, and everything that comes into your mind, you just write it down so that it forms like a beautiful, like a sun-shaped diagram. You can do it in different colors, and I find that that's very centering. Then I'll call a friend. I'll call somebody who accepts me as I am, and who loves me, and who is going to be happy to hear from me, and we'll just sit. We'll spend time with each other on the phone, or if somebody is open for lunch or coffee, I'll go have lunch or coffee with that person. I'll find a picture of myself that I really, really like, and I'll put it someplace where I can look at it, and I can say, gee, that's a really great picture, and you've done really great things, and kind of step into the picture so that you can reactivate what it felt like when you were in that wonderful state of being that was captured, by a photographer just in that moment.
Right.
And if you do, there's something that you like to do but you don't normally get to do, like take a long walk, or go to your favorite coffee shop, or just sit around and listen to music, or take a bubble bath. Just some activity that is both gentle and strengthening at the same time. And I find that if you have a self-esteem day for yourself, you will come out of that feeling centered and feeling more loving towards yourself and towards the people and animals who you really love and who really love you.
Yeah. There's always been that question, I think, in metaphysics and in actually probably many different areas of, are we meant to be a couple? Are we meant to be solo? I mean, obviously, souls have individual paths, right? So the soul itself is meant to experience and so on and so forth. But in the big picture, are we meant to be paired up, teamed up, whatever, in whatever relationship that is? Or is that a choice, or is it a, I don't know. I sit back and people who are in relationships always say to me, oh, you're lucky you're single. And then I, talk to people who have been married, 25, 30, 40, 50 years and so forth, and they couldn't imagine life without the other person. So is there a sense from you on, just from a shamanistic standpoint, what is that?
Originally, and when I work with couples, and I work a lot also with, people who are trying to decide whether or not they want to stay in a relationship or dissolve the relationship, whether it's a breakup or whether it's a divorce, or whether it's one person has outgrown the other person, or whether there's been some kind of a loss or a betrayal. And I'd like to point out that marriage was a survival partnership. And in our country, in our culture, in this time in history, women especially have the right and the privilege to buy property, to own a house, to buy a car, to lease a car, to rent an apartment, to get a job in the workplace that pays a living wage. So up until very recently, women had to marry for survival, or else they had to become nurses, teachers, or join a convent.
True. Very true.
There were no other options. And in many countries, there are still no other options. Some countries, you have a first name, and your first name is Mrs. And, somebody told me a story about her aunt in a country village in Ireland, where her uncle used to get drunk and would hit her aunt. And when her aunt would show up in church with a black eye, the priest would say, "Now, Mary, what have you done to make him do that to you?"
Right.
Because it's such a perversion of what we consider to be,
normal behavior,
healthy or even ethical or legal behavior. So women traditionally have needed to be married to have status in society. And even those of us like myself who are single and in a relationship, but I'm single. I've been single since my divorce. I work with women who are professional women who are single or single moms. There is still a stigma to being a divorced woman in communities where everybody is a couple. So the question of, are you supposed to be in a couple's relationship? There's a lot of pressure to be married. There's a lot of pressure to be in a couple's relationship.
Yeah.
And yet, and whether or not the relationship is healthy or safe. Women will stay in relationships and they'll go back to men who are abusive because the idea of not being in marriage or being alone, being a woman alone in society is very, very scary.
Yeah. And conversely, men will go back to relationships with abusive women because of that draw to be
same thing.
The same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Because it really has been, like you said, until recent history, survival. And I know just even, having been single, 36, 37 years now, that people still call me Mrs., and I mean, not that they know my ex or anything like that. It's just the culture here where I live is when you get to this age, you must be a Mrs., right?
That's
you couldn't be a Miss. You've got to be a Mrs. And so I'm constantly going, no, that's Miss. And they're like, why are you making a big deal of it? And I'm like, because you're calling me Mrs. and that's not accurate. And so maybe it's my touchy spot, but I do think, I know you and I have both traveled extensively in other countries, and I remember being in a small village in India, and a man had died, and he had, I think, 4 or 5 wives, and the wives did not like the newest wife, who was very young. And so the funeral pyre, and I was watching this, was going through the street for his funeral, and the other 4 wives picked up the youngest new wife and threw her on the funeral pyre.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and killed her. And it was like,
oh my God.
What I know, it was horrific. What we think is normal behavior, or even behavior that we think is not okay, pales in comparison to so many different parts of the world. So when we get back, let's talk a little bit more about that. And folks, thank you so much for joining me and my guest, Dr. Laurie Nadel, and we'll be right back. It's Patty Conklin and Healing Within.
Audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com. or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Join Patty Conklin and Healing Within Radio each week. More than entertainment, Healing Within offers educational, useful tools for everyday life. Listen for help overcoming fear, anxiety, and depression. Patty knows about eliminating cancer, MS, dementia, Parkinson's, and a host of illnesses that we face every day. Life can be good. Life is good. All you need are simple tools to start changing your life. Start right now by visiting pattyconklin.com, PATTICONKLIN. No matter where you are in the world, you can work with Patty through Skype, phone, or in person, visiting one of her retreats in Georgia. Visit pattyconklin.com today or call our offices at 404-474-0086. That's pattyconklin.com or call 404-474-0086.
Coming soon to the X Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net.
And welcome back, everyone. It's Patty Conklin and Healing Within, and my guest, Dr. Laurie Nadel. And we're talking about relationships. You know, we're in the month of February and Valentine's Day and so on and so forth, and kind of where relationships go and the status of women throughout history of this country, certainly, and how much women still need help in other countries. You know, I'm getting ready to take a tour, Laurie, and it's going to be a 2-week tour of into the Holy Lands and kind of following the footsteps of the women of the Bible and focusing on the women. And I just thought that it was just really a good time to kind of go on that adventure and follow the women of the Bible and go to some of the places that they went. And when I think about that and think about what an amazing trip it's going to be, and I can't imagine not coming back changed in probably multiple different ways. But I think about, different parts of the world that I've visited and so forth, where women either are the matriarchs or the I don't know if the term is a shaman of the village or the wise one of a village. We still have so many places like that in the world. And I'll tell you what, when you live in a Western society, it is easy to not know or to not think of women in other areas of the world who are very revered within their village. And I got thinking about that as I'm saying it, and I'm thinking, you know what? A lot of those women are single.
That's right. I was going to make that point when we came back.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those women are single, and it's because they have these gifts, or they have the ancient wisdom that was passed on to them. You know, I feel very privileged because I've had rituals, and I guess you would call them ancient traditions and ancient wisdom that has been passed on for thousands of years by oral tradition from woman healer to woman healer to woman healer. And you won't find them on the internet. You know, these are not, you know, these are sacred. And when you are somebody who receives those teachings, you know, it's hard to be a regular housewife. You know, it shifts you. It just shifts your position. It shifts your position with regard to men, especially in those villages. I remember meeting a woman who was a midwife and a shaman and a mother who lived in the Amazon in Ecuador. And she had like this fierce intelligence and wisdom and kindness about her. And it was a great gift to receive teachings from her. And yet you could see that she was revered by the men and women around her. And that because of the spiritual, I would say, power that she radiated, she wasn't going to be living a normal life, you know, like women who had, you know, 3 or 5 children, and they had a husband, and they had some sons, and they got up at dawn and they cooked the meals, and you know, then they went out to the field and they laid the little tablecloth down, you know, on a ditch, and everybody, you know, ate little tin plates together, which I always found amazing because I don't think I remember the number of times that my family ate lunch together, as everybody was always on a different schedule.
Right.
And, you know, you go into some places where, you know, people didn't have television or cell phones or even electricity, and yet, you know, the families would stay together.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just something to, I think, reflect on Valentine's Day is really what is the power of love? Is the power of love to help us build sustainable relationships and to create or to follow traditions that are going to keep us connected, and so that we're there for each other, you know, as we age? Or is love the Hollywood version of love, where, you know, there's chemistry and there's electricity and there's excitement and then there's great sex and there's pleasure, and you know, you do fun activities together, and eventually you move in and you start designing your life and you have kids, and then you don't have as much fun, and so you give up on the relationship. And, and there's the shadow side of Valentine's Day is that it really pumps up the kind of glitzy version of what, quote-unquote, love is supposed to be. And I'm mentioning this because you had asked about the origin of Valentine's Day, which I just looked up. And Valentine's Day was a pagan holiday called Lupercalia, which was held in mid-February, and it celebrated the coming of spring, and it included fertility rituals and the pairing off of women with men by a lottery. But by the end of the 5th century, Pope Gelasius replaced Lupercalia with St. Valentine's Day, and St. Valentine died around 270 A.D.
Wow.
Wow. So, you know, there's a special resonance to how we're looking at Valentine's Day through all these different filters, because it is a kind of a syncretized holiday that became kind of Christianized after hundreds of years of being I want to call it a holiday that was in rhythm with the spiritual intelligence of nature. In other words, when, as Carl Jung says, when we go into certain seasons, our biological rhythms realign.
Absolutely.
So during winter, we hibernate. You know, we tend to kind of close in. It's a time to stay in. It's a time to reflect. It's a time for dreams, and it's a time for gaining insight in dreams. And it sometimes feels like, at least, you know, in the colder climates, it's a time when you withdraw more. And then you get into spring, and spring is a time when people libido starts to kind of heat up, and you know, love is in the air, and people tend to if you're of childbearing age, that's very often when your body kind of comes to life and you want to have a baby. You feel like you want to find a partner so that you can have a mate and you can have a baby. And
Right.
summer is the time to relax and kind of harvest or begin to harvest, some of the good things that you've been working on throughout the year, and to just kind of enjoy it. And then, autumn is the time of bringing things in to store, to prepare for the winter. So it's a time of harvest, but it's a time of preparation. And our bodies and our minds and our spirits naturally kind of fall, they fall into, but they naturally kind of fall into the rhythms of the seasons, or they follow the rhythms of the season. And so it's interesting that, Valentine's Day was a ritual that really celebrated the desire to create new life by finding a partner and by getting pregnant and by preparing to give birth. And and now, the Hollywood version or the commercial version, it's about looking at somebody across the room and having great chemistry and, holding hands and, walking in the sun, or, going paddle boarding together, or parachuting together, or watching a movie and snuggling up together. And, and it never shows the bigger picture of having connections, having soul connections to other people, soul friends, companions, animal companions, who are also, sometimes the love of our life. There's so much other depth to Valentine's Day, and it gets completely ignored because of the focus on the romantic couple. And the romantic couple is really, it's the glamour, and it's the part that doesn't last. Right.
Very true. It's the part that's not sustainable in most cases. I mean, it can ebb and flow, but it's not going to be sustainable. First off, because I want to get in our final segment, I want to talk about your 5 gifts. But where can people find you?
We can find me online at my website, laurienadel.com. It's LaurieNadel.com. And you'll find a contact button there. You can contact me through the web or by phone. And I always prefer to hear your voice, because we communicate a lot more texture and emotion and power in the voice-to-voice communication. So please feel free to look at my website and click on the contact button, and I'd be very happy to respond.
Yeah, beautiful. And I know, folks, that you'll take advantage of that, because it's just, it's that important. It's that important to be able to talk. And, I've known Laurie now for close to 25 years, and you have always been an inspiration, whether you're off. What were you doing? You weren't sailing. What was it? It was windsurfing. Thank you. I was losing for 20 years windsurfing. That's so awesome, and enjoyed it too. So, folks, when we come back, we'll talk with Laurie about her book, The 5 Gifts, and see how we can put that in relation to Valentine's Day. So we'll be back. It's Patty Conklin and Healing Within, and Dr. Laurie Nadel.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
Hi everyone, it's Patty Conklin in Healing Within, and my guest is Dr. Laurie Nadel, and I'm just always so happy to have time to talk with her as not only as a friend, but a psychotherapist and a shaman, and all the multiple gifts she has and the wisdom that she has to impart. So Laurie, your book, The 5 Gifts, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the rest of it. It's sitting over there on my bookshelf right now. But talk about the 5 gifts, and if you would, for those of us who have gone through recent breakups, or for those of us who are single, how do we apply your 5 gifts to helping us get through this time of commercialization and just this time of feeling, quote, alone? How do we use your 5 gifts?
Well, I think it's a great question. The title of the book is The 5 Gifts: Discovering Hope, Healing, and Strength When Disaster Strikes. And I actually wrote it to help people whose lives were really shattered by catastrophic events. And I was very proud that I was able to work with the debriefing team in Parkland after the shooting. And I'm mentioning this because February 14th is the second anniversary of the Parkland shooting. And so we talk about the meaning of Valentine's Day. To us as a people, I think it's important to take a moment and remember those who were wounded and survived, as well as those who were killed, and how the community came together in an amazing way. And if we talk about the meaning of Valentine's Day in a context like this, the love that those teachers showed for years and have been showing for years after this event, and the consistency and the support of the community, really it kind of shines a light, a different kind of light on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. That I think it's important for us as a people to honor that.
Yeah.
The 5 gifts are humility, patience, empathy, forgiveness, and growth. And humility kind of helps us. It's really a grace. When I find that I'm started feeling disappointment, that I haven't finished something, or I have a piece that got rejected by a newspaper, and I'll kind of start, well, what's wrong with you, and how, why aren't you good enough? And then I'll stop and I'll ask God for humility, and it kind of comes over my shoulders, almost like a cloud. And with the gift of humility, I stop asking why me. And I'll just say, hey, it happens. It's life. Things happen that are outside our control. Not every day is a great day. Sometimes things in life are upsetting or disappointing. And if you've just gone through a breakup and you're kind of getting down on yourself, the gift of humility can help you accept that, you're hurting. And there's a universal suffering to a broken heart. All of Western literature, movies, all kinds of stuff on social media, I'm thinking, great art going back centuries. It all talks about how do we get through the wounding of the broken heart. Mm-hmm. And humility is the gift that helps us to understand that, I'm not the only person in the world who's going through this. I'm not the first person in the world, and I'll get through it as we all get through it.
Yeah. Very true.
Helps us to be where we are, and patience is the gift that helps us to stop getting angry at ourselves when Valentine's comes along. Valentine's Day. If you had a relationship, as I did many years ago, had a profound relationship that started on Valentine's Day, and for years and years later, Valentine's Day was like a little. It really hurt. Because mm-hmm. It felt like that relationship was a betrayal of Valentine's. The way the relationship turned out, it kind of was a betrayal of the promise of the perfect romantic love that was going to last forever. I know that sounds silly, but mm-hmm. we all want to create that magical love forever on Valentine's Day. And when it fell apart or didn't work, after 7 years, every time Valentine's Day would come along, I would be really upset. I wouldn't say depressed, but I'd be really sad. And patience is the gift that helps us to forgive ourselves and accept that, it takes as long as it takes. Like any kind of grieving, you can be completely healed in the sense that you don't think about it all the time anymore, and you kind of can move on with your life, and you can start dating again. But an anniversary can trigger that old wound, and mm-hmm. patience lets us accept and acknowledge that, the heart doesn't have a timetable. And
right.
Just be patient with yourself and be nice to yourself and forgive yourself for being hurt, that I'm not over it yet, or I'm not completely over it, patience will help us to get through that moment of suffering or that day of suffering.
Interesting. Okay.
The third one is empathy, and empathy is connection with others primarily, although we also need to have empathy and concern for ourselves. And another great way to celebrate Valentine's Day is to go out and connect with other people, or volunteer, or go to an animal shelter or a soup kitchen, and connect empathetically with other people or with other beings, and give them your love and give them your concern. After a disaster like Parkland, for example, or a natural disaster, we need sustainable empathy that goes on for several years, because the emotional rebuilding takes several years.
Yeah.
And sometimes even after a broken relationship, a divorce or a broken heart, a breakup, the gift of empathy will help us feel that we're back in flow and that we can experience a different kind of love, but it's still love and it will still help to fill the hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness, I'd like to say, is not a light switch. It's not something that is on or off. You either forgive or you don't. I tell people to step into what it's like to be forgiving, and when you're in a state of forgiving, you can be forgiving of the person who broke your heart. You can be forgiving 10% or 15% or 30% or 80%, and it can fluctuate. Like an old light meter, would fluctuate.
Right.
As the light, flickered back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And it's okay if you cannot forgive somebody 100% all the time. You can be forgiving of that person a little bit at a time, and you can be forgiving of yourself, because sometimes I know after a breakup I would blame myself and say, why didn't I see that coming? I shouldn't have gotten into the relationship. I should have known. And it's very important that we forgive ourselves when we start ruminating about what we may or may not have done wrong.
Right.
So forgiving is very important in healing. And the final stage, final gift, is growth, and we're always growing. I mean, even this moment we're talking, our body is replacing millions and millions of new cells. And
right.
As long as we're biologically alive, we're growing as human beings. Parts of us may be dying out
right.
to a certain age. I mean, the parts are designed to wear out, for God's sake. But
right.
we're always growing. And
yeah.
we can grow kind of a new branch of our heart, no matter how broken-hearted we are. I like to think of the psyche as a garden, and as a garden in the winter is barren and it's dead and it's cold, and you look at it and it's like there's nothing there, and yet there are seeds of possibility that are incubating deep within the soil. And it's the same way with a broken heart. Even when it feels like I'm never going to love again and I'm never going to be happy again, the seeds of possibility and the seeds of love are always there in the subconscious or the unconscious, the hidden part of the self, which has deeper wisdom and deeper healing capability than we're aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the aspect of reaching growth as we've gone through humility, patience, empathy, forgiveness, and growth is that realization that we are going through growth every second, that like you said, our body is regenerating, our cells are renewing and so forth. And it is this continuous cycle. And I was thinking about that today and yesterday and looking at our weather, because, yesterday we were 70 degrees and, got about 9 inches of rain and tornado warnings all day. And then, and the daffodils are out and the grass is all lush, for this time of year. And today we're getting snow. And I was thinking about that in terms of just all of the different chaos that comes together and still creates beauty, that, we can look at it and say, gee, this is rough, whatever. But growth is something that is inevitable. And whether it's happening on a cellular level or a conscious level, we're going to be going through growth. So I want to thank you so much for being here today and
My
talking
pleasure,
about
always.
this topic, because it is an important one, and people, from all over tend to sit and, like you said, ruminate about this time period. Folks, you can reach Laurie at laurienadel.com, and I encourage you to pick up her book, The 5 Gifts, and she's got other publications out there as well. So please look those up. And as always, my friend, thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
And
You too.
enjoy yourself. And folks, it's Patty Conklin, Healing Within. Thank you so much for being a part of my life and my show.